Magandang umaga sa lahat. So, nandito po tayo ngayon para sa recap ng database management. So, short recap lang po to with regards sa concepts and ideas ng database management. So, ulitin natin. What is data nga ba? Pag sinabi nating data, data are raw facts. The word raw indicates that the facts have not yet been processed to reveal their meaning. So, ibig sabihin, hilaw ang data. It has no context. They are basically just numbers, text, or images. Pag sinabi naman nating information, information is the result of processing raw data to reveal its meaning. So pag nagkaroon na ng meaning at na-process ang data, okay, saka tayo nagka-arrive sa information. Data processing can be as simple as organizing data to reveal patterns or as complex as making forecasts or drawing inferences using statistical modeling. So tandaan natin, ang information ay data with context or may laman. Okay? The information is also value added to data, either through summarization, organization, or analyzation of the data. Now, ano naman ang konsepto ng database? Pag sinabi nating database, ito siyang specialized structure that allows computer-based systems to store, manage, and retrieve data very quickly. So as I have said, ang database natin, iba-iba yan. Okay? As long as we have a structure, okay, that allows computer-based system to store, manage, and retrieve data very quickly, we can consider that as a database. It is usually controlled by a database management system or DBMS. Now, in our previous lecture, na tatandaan naman natin ang DBMS natin could either be SQL Server, could be MySQL, pwede ring Oracle, okay? Or the likes. Together, the data in the DBMS along with the applications that are associated with them are referred to as a database system, often shortened to just database. Okay, so tandaan natin, technically, iba ang database sa database management system. The database management system is the one controlling our particular database. Pero usually, in layman's term, pati yung DBMS, tinatawag na ring database. Okay, now what are the types of database? There are many different types of database. The best database for a specific organization depends on how the organization intends to use the data. So our most commonly used database yung napag-aralan natin is what we call the relational database. So through the relationship of entities, ito yung main concept ng relational database. How one object or entity relate to another. They became dominant in the 1980s. Items in a relational database are organized as a set of tables with columns and rows. So para siyang Excel sheet. Relational database technology provides the most efficient and flexible way to access structured information. Okay. So kung maalala pa ninyo, when we represent a table, we are representing data in rows and columns. So yung mga fields niya represented as the columns, and then yung mga datas naman, yun yung mga rows natin. Okay? Object-oriented databases. Information in object-oriented database is represented in the form of objects, just like object-oriented programming. We also have what we call distributed databases, okay, which consists of 2 or more files located in different sites. The database may be stored on multiple computers located in the same physical location or scattered over different networks. So there are different reasons why we use distributed database. Availability, okay, speed of access, and yung mga main reason bakit tayo gumagamit ng distributed databases. A relational database can also be a distributed database. Okay? Data warehouses. A central repository for data, it is a type of database specifically designed for fast query and analysis. Usually, data warehouses, guys, database siya, pero ang purpose lang talaga niya mag-store ng information for immediate query. So, usually, hindi na normalize yung mga data dito kasi ang priority is the speed of access, hindi yung hindi lang efficiency ng pag-store ng data, kundi yung bilis. Okay? Na SQL database. So, ito yung isang napag-aralan natin nung nakaraan under ng MongoDB. So, ano SQL or non-relational database allows unstructured and semi-structured data to be stored and manipulated in contrast to a relational database, which defines how all data inserted into the database must be composed. The SQL database grew popularity as web applications became more common and more complex. So, ito yung tatandaan natin pag NoSQL allows unstructured and semi-structured data to be stored and manipulated. So, kung maalala ninyo, we could add columns on the fly. Okay? We could add data on the fly, not unlike sa relational database, may doon tayong proper structure and pattern na kailangang sundin. So, no SQL, wala. Okay? Wala tayong masyadong structure na sinusunod. Next, a graph database. Graph database stores data in terms of entities and the relationships between those entities. OLTP databases. It is a speedy analytic database designed for large numbers of transactions performed by multiple users. So a relational database can also be an OLTP database. So this is specifically catered for multiple users processing numerous number of transactions. In addition to the different database types, changes in technology development, approaches, and dramatic advances such as the cloud and automation are propelling databases in entirely new directions. So some of the latest database includes open source database. It is one whose source code is open source or readily available in the internet. Such database could be SQL or no SQL databases. So po pwedeng relational din sila in the form of dati ang MySQL is open source. Pinalitan siya ng MariaDB, which is open source na. Okay. Some NoSQL databases are also open source. Cloud database is a collection of data, either structured or unstructured, residing on a private, public, or hybrid cloud computing platform. There are two types, the traditional and database and as a service. So traditional databases, yan yung pwedeng mga OLTP natin, relational, object-oriented, na nasa cloud. Meron din tayong mga database as a service in which the administrative tasks and maintenance are performed by a service provider. Next, we have the multi-model database. They combine different types of database models into a single integrated backend, allowing them to accommodate various data types. We also have what we call the document or JSON database designed for storing, retrieving, and managing document-oriented information. They are a modern way to store data in JSON format rather than rows and columns. The self-driving database. The newest and most groundbreaking type of database, self-driving databases, also known as autonomous databases, are cloud-based and use machine learning to automate database tuning, security, backup, updates, and other routine management tasks traditionally performed by database administrator. So automatic siya, powered by the artificial intelligence or machine learning. Database design. Database design is a collection of processes that facilitates the designing, development, implementation, and maintenance of enterprise data management systems. Properly designed databases are easy to maintain, improves data consistency, and are cost-effective in terms of the storage space. The database designer decides how the data elements correlate and what data must be stored. So, kung maalala ninyo na isang napakahalagang proseso ang pagde-design ng database bago pa man tayo maglagay ng information at mag-access. Kasi ang accessing natin at pag-store ng information nakasalalay sa kung paano dinesign ang database natin. The main objectives of database design are to produce logical and physical design models of the proposed database system. And it helps us produce database systems that meets the requirements of the user and have high performance. So kahit lumaki ng lumaki yung data, mabilis or hindi halos nagbabago yung performance niya. Now, what is the database development lifecycle? The database development lifecycle consists of 3 phases: the requirements analysis, database designing, and implementation. Under requirements analysis has planning, okay, in which concepts are concerned with planning of entire database development lifecycle. It takes into consideration the information system strategy of the organization. We also have the system definition, which defines the scope and boundaries of the proposed database system. Under database designing, we have the logical model, concerned with developing a database model based on requirements. The entire design is on paper without any physical implementation or specific DBMS consideration. We also have the physical model, which implements the logical model of the database, taking into account the database management system and physical implementation factors. So dito sa database designing natin, meron tayong through plan, logical model, and the actual implementation sa DBMS, which is the physical model. Implementation. So under implementation, we have data conversion and loading. The stage of relational database design is concerned with importing and converting data from the old system into the new database. And then lastly, kapag na-convert na natin at na-upload na, we have the testing, concerned with the identification of errors in the newly implemented system. It checks the database against requirement specification kung na-meet lahat ng requirements ng ating user. What are the database design techniques? Okay, so kung maalala niyo itong term na to, meron tayong tinatawag na first technique or yung technique na ginagamit natin for database design is yung normalization. It helps reduce data redundancy and eliminates undesirable characteristics like insert, update, delete, anomalies. Ano ba yung anomalies na yan? Kung maalala ninyo, yan yung kakaroon ng orphan records, kakaroon ng problema doon sa mga data, yung mga relationship mawawala. Okay? Ito yung ini-eliminate ni normalization. So, normalization rules divides larger tables into smaller tables and links them using relationship. The purpose of normalization in SQL is to eliminate redundant or repetitive data and ensure data is stored logically. Okay, in most practical applications, normalization achieves its best up until the third normal form. Pero mayroon pang ibang mga forms na nag-exist beyond the third normal form. Pero usually, pag na third normal form na natin siya, more or less normalized na yung ating table. First normal form. First normal form, kailangan nating eliminate yung repeating groups sa mga table at bawat record kailangan maging unique. The second normal form, nire-remove natin yung partial dependency at ina-assign natin sa separate tables. The partial dependency exists when there is a functional dependence in which the determinant is only part of the primary key. Okay, remembering we are assuming there is only one candidate key. For example, if AB identifies CD and B identifies C and B is the primary key, then the functional dependence B C is a partial dependency because only part of the primary key CB, is needed to determine the value of C. So tatandaan natin, kapag para mahanap ang mga partial dependency, usually isang part ng primary key kayang i-depend yung non-key value. Okay? Non-key value kayang i-identify. So usually, yun yung clue para makita natin kung partial dependency pa siya. They tend to be rather straightforward and easy to identify. Now, the third normal form, under the third normal form, we remove the transitive dependency and assign them to separate tables. Transitive dependency exists when there are functional dependencies such as X identifies Y identifies Z, and X is the primary key. In that case, the dependency X identifies Z is a transitive dependency because X determines the value of Z via Y. Okay? A transitive dependency will occur only when a functional dependence exists among non-prime attributes. So, ang nangyayari dito, kakaroon ng dependency among non-prime attributes. So, non-key attributes. Okay? So, meron tayong example dito na ino-normalize table. So, meron tayong table employee having the columns empnum, empname, dep code, dep name, dep country, continent ID, and continent. So, kung makikita natin, data in the columns are separated by comma. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, may mga repeating data tayo. So, first normal form, ano yung rule natin? We remove all repeating groups, marked by comma, and then make sure all the records are unique. So, ang ginawa natin, binaba natin into a separate record lahat ng may mga comma. So, makikita natin kanina, si Andrew may AC Tech, ACT, saka Tech. Okay. ACT, saka Tech. Kanina, North America, tas Europe. North America, Europe. Binaba din natin yan. North America, tapos Europe. Okay? So, first normal form na tayo. Second normal form. Identify natin yung partial dependency, which is one or more columns that can uniquely identify the entire row. Then, separate them into tables and give them names based on their values. Take note, all separated tables in the partial dependency should have unique values. Okay? So, sa table empdep, combination ng employee number at department, ihiwalay natin yung combination ng employee saka ng dep code. Kasi sa original table natin, kung mapapansin natin, ano yung nag-identify uniquely, okay, dito sa ating mga employee, nag-identify uniquely sa bawat row is yung emp number at yung dep code. So, silang dalawa. Gagawa tayo ng new table, table emp dep, kinoconnect yung dalawa, at ano yung mga dependency nila. So, dito, sama natin yung dep country, continent ID, and continent. Then, yung employee naman, we created a separate table for the employee. Notice, unique yung values natin. Ito yung ating partial dependency. Okay, empnum. So, ito yung empnum, table employee. Ito naman yung employee name. Ano yung pangalawa nating partial dependency? Yung department. So, dep code and dep name. Okay? So, partial dependency. Una muna, ihiwalay natin yung ating original table. Tatanggalin natin yung mga hindi kailangan. Pag na-identify na natin yung mga key, empnum, dep code, ihiwalay natin into a separate table of their own. Now, for the third normal form, we identify the transitive dependency and we rewrite the connecting table. So, meron tayo dito, ano yung identify natin na transitive dependency. So, itong mga to, ano na siya, partial dependency na siya. So, hindi na siya kasama. Yung transitive, hahanapin natin dito sa connecting table natin. Ano yung nag-identify na non-key or non-prime attribute, naka-identify ng another non-prime attribute. So, in this case, ay, kung mapapansin natin, yung continent ID, identify niya yung continent. So, we could separate the continent ID into a new table called table continent. So, ito na siya. Rewrite natin yung empdep. Okay. Empnum, dep code, dep country, and continent ID. So, that is your normalized table na. Aside from normalization, in order for us to design a database, magamit din po tayo ng tinatawag natin na Entity Relationship Model or ER model. Okay, it is a graphical tool in which entities and their relationship are pictured. Normally, nare-represent natin siya using an ERD or entity relationship diagram, which uses graphical representations to model database components. They consist of entity and relationship. So may rule tayo. Ang entity dapat singular form. Okay, dapat nasa capital letter. Usually represented to na rectangle or what we call as an entity box. Okay. Relationship describes associations among data. Most relationships describe associations between entities. It can comprise of 0, 1, or many relationships. Okay. We use different type of notation for entity relationship. Okay. We have Chen and crow's foot. So si Chen notation, the relationship name is written inside the diamond. And the crow's foot naman, derived from the three-pronged symbol used to represent the many side of the relationship. Okay. The 1 is represented by a short line segment and the M is represented by the three-pronged crow's foot. So makikita natin dito, crow's foot, ito siya. Ito yung many, ito yung 1. Okay. So kung i-compare natin, the Chen notation, again, diamond, dito yung action. The action should be present tense, okay, singular form, okay, and then yung number niyang Chen notation, nandun sa line, above the line. Dito naman sa crow's foot, the action is in the middle of the line, and then yung ating modality na tinatawag or yung count is nakasulat. So for 1, okay, usually represent 1 by 2 lines. For many, usually represent them by 1 line together with the foot of the crow. We have here a sample of the ER diagram. So given the problem, fisherman catches many fish is kept in many storage, many fishermen sells to many buyer. So using the rules that we have discussed earlier. So sabi natin kanina, under the Chen notation, the action should be inside the diamond, singular form, okay? And then our entities or objects should be in capital letter and single form sa loob ng isang box. So let's go back to the problem. So fisherman catches many fish. One fisherman catches fish. Next, many fish kept in storage. So many fish kept in storage. Then lastly, many fishermen sells to many buyer. So many fishermen sells many buyer. Okay. Crow's foot naman, you will recall, papalitan lang natin basically yung mga symbols na ginamit natin for modality as well as the action. But we retain the entity. So, i-rewrite lang natin siya. Okay. So, one fisherman or fisherman catches many fish. Okay. Take note of the symbol, 2 lines for 1. And then for many, single line, and then foot of a crow. Many fishermen sell fish, okay, to many buyer. And then many fish is kept in many storage. So that is how you would do your Chen and crow's foot notation. Punta naman tayo ngayon sa database programming. So database languages, commonly referred to as query languages, are a type of programming language that programmers use to define and access data. Within the DBMS, these languages enable users to perform tasks such as restricting data access, defining and modifying data, as well as searching for information. DBMS is a system that developers use to manage databases. SQL and other database programming languages are used to write queries for DBMS, such as creating, modifying, and deleting records. So SQL, sometimes also read as SQL, the structured query language is among the most fundamental languages to grasp if you intend to work with databases. It is a database language developed by Oracle to create and manage databases. It enables data insertion, deletion, retrieval, and modification. It is the ideal database language for efficiently organizing and accessing data. Despite its shortcomings, SQL remains one of the most popular database languages. So most of the code that we are going to use when working with relational database uses structured query language. So yun yung ginagamit natin, or SQL. Ngayon, there are times na kapag gumamit po tayo ng programming languages, may mga built-in commands na sila to add, insert, update, or manipulate data. Pero at the core of those built-in languages is SQL also or SQL also. Kumbaga, shinarkat lang nila. Pero ang main language talaga na ginagamit is yung SQL sa loob ng DBMS at pati sa mga programs. Database operation. It is the development, maintenance, and support of structured data to maximize the value of data across the organization. This function includes database support and data technology management. So sa database operation natin, isa sa mga element na kailangan natin is or are the people. Okay? So is the people, sorry. So this component includes all users of the database system. Based on primary job functions, 5 types of users can be identified in a database system, namely system administrators, which oversee the database system's general operation. So yun yung purpose ng system admin natin. May database admin din tayo, also known as DBA, which manages the DBMS and ensures that the database is functioning properly. Okay. We also have the database designer, which designs the database structure. They are considered as the database architect because if the database design is poor, even the best application programmers and most dedicated database administrator cannot produce a useful database environment. We have also the system analysts and programmers, which design and implement application programs. They design and create the data entry screens, report, and procedures through which end users access and manipulate the database data. And then lastly, end users are the people who use the application programs to run the application's daily operations. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the 5 job functions, okay, ng mga users ng ating database system. What are the commonly used database data types? So siguro naman familiar na po tayo pag sinabi nating data type. Data type, ito yung classification of the type of value na hinuhold ng ating data. Okay? It could either be an int or integer data type, which stores whole numbers. Okay? Whole numbers don't include decimal places. SQL Server uses number of computer words to represent an integer. There are maximum and minimum values that it can represent. An int data type can store a value from negative, okay, to positive 2 billion, okay? Negative 2 billion to positive 2 billion plus. Varchar and varchar are used for text values. To use varchar and varchar for variable length text values, varchar stands for variable length character. Kung hindi nyo naalala, pag sinabi nating variable length character, ito yung nag-iiba-iba yung size niya. Depende dun sa content niya. Okay, so kung ano yung maximum size man na sinet natin dito, po pwedeng mas mababa yung size niya base dun sa data na sinave natin sa loob ng column na yun. We also have the date time or date and time data type. Store the date and the time. Optionally, we also have date and time separately. And we also have decimal and float for decimal point. We use them to work with decimal values. Decimal is used for its precision and scale. The precision determines the total number of digits to store, whereas scale determines the number of digits to the right of the decimal point. Floats are good for long numeric values, though a decimal value can have 38 digits total. In many engineering and scientific applications, this is inadequate. So, kapag ganun, float ang ginagamit naman natin. So, it is used if the priority is extreme numeric values. Okay? Para makuha natin yung kaliit-liitan or ka-specific na value na kailangan natin. And then lastly, we have the bit, which is used for Boolean, true or false, or yes or no values. There are times when you just need to store whether something is or is not. Okay, for example, an active employee. Okay, the data type of bit or Boolean has 3 states, 1, 0, or null. Okay, SQL categories or SQL categories. May dalawang category ang SQL natin. The first one is the data definition language, okay, which includes commands to create database objects such as tables, indexes, views, as well as commands to define access to those objects. So kung mapapansin natin, ito yung short list of some of those commands. So meron tayong create schema, create table, not null, unique, primary key, foreign key, default, check, okay. Usually, itong not null hanggang sa check, ginagamit natin siya for attributes of our column. Okay. Create index, to create an index, create view, to create a view, alter table, to modify a table, create table as, okay, creating a table using a SQL query. We also have drop table, which permanently deletes a table and its data, drop index, and drop view. We also have data manipulation language, which includes commands to insert, update, delete, and retrieve data within the database table. So ano-ano yung mga yan? Meron tayong insert, pang-insert ng data. Meron tayong select, pang-select ng data. Under ng select, meron po tayong where clause, which is used to filter out based on a condition. Group by, which is used to group our data based on one or more attribute. Having naman, nire-restrict natin yung gamit ng ating group by clause or ng ating aggregate function. So parang pang-limit siya ng group by or ng aggregate functions natin. And then order by, pang-sort, ascending or descending. We also have the update statement pag gusto natin mag-update ng column values. Delete, to delete one or more rows. Commit, to permanently save data. Okay. And then roll back to restore the data to its original value. Comparison operators naman, we use them for conditional expression. Equal, not equal, greater than equal. Logical operators naman, we have the end. So it returns true if both conditions are true, or returns true if at least one of the condition is true, and not is the opposite of the condition. Special operators between. So, pang-check natin ng value kung nasa range siya. Pwede itong string, pwedeng sa date, pwedeng sa numbers. Is null naman, pang-check kung null yung value ng isang column. Like is used to check for string pattern. So, under ng like natin, gumagamit po tayo ng percentage to denote any number of characters, underscore, single character. And then, meron din po tayong bracket, okay, or bracket not, ginagamit naman for single character and then with a particular filter, okay. Exist. Checks whether a subquery returns any rows. Distinct naman limits values to unique values. Aggregate functions, we have count, which counts the number of rows. Minimum or min, which returns the minimum value of a particular column or field. Max or maximum, which returns the maximum value for a particular field. Sum is summation of all values. Syempre, required data is number. And then AVG for average. Okay. Next, data analysis. Pag sinabi nating data analysis, we are talking about the process of inspecting, cleaning, transforming, and modeling data with the goal of discovering useful information. We draw conclusions, and through those conclusions, it helps us support in decision making. It involves various techniques and methods to extract meaningful insights from raw data. So take note that data analysis is a subset or a branch of data analytics, or a sub process, sorry, not a branch, sub process of data analytics under siya ng data analytics, and is limited to the actual handling and treatment of the data. So data analysis and data analytics, tandaan, data analysis is under ng data analytics. So kung saan ang data analysis is actual handling and treatment of data. Yun lang yung functionality niya. Kasi medyo broad ang data analytics. So data analytics versus data analysis. While data analytics is more expansive process, marami siya or malawak, that consists of data collection, validation, and visualization. Data analysis is its subset and limited to actual handling and treatment of the data. Okay, 5 key differences between data analytics and data analysis. Una-una sa form. Okay, so data analytics, general form. So data analysis, specific form yung ginagamit. Structure sa data analytics consists of different processes. Sa data analysis, 3 processes lang. Yung data cleaning na tinatawag, removing duplicates and incomplete values, data visualization, through graphs and charts, and data stories using insights. Sa tools naman na ginagamit natin sa data analytics and data analysis, may pagkakahawig sila. Okay, may ibang mga tools or programs na specific for data analysis, pero mayroon din naman silang pagkakaparehas. One example is yung Tableau na tinatawag. Okay. Also, you could use programming languages such as Python and R for both data analytics and data analysis. Sequence naman, okay, sa sequence natin, meron tayong 8 particular sequences or steps as you said sa data analytics: identification, acquisition and filtering, extraction, validation and cleansing, aggregation and representation, analysis, which is number 6. So sa pang number 6, si data analysis under ng data analytics, data visualization, and creating data stories. Whereas under ng data analytics, meron tayong cleaning, visualization, and data stories insight. And then lastly, usage. Data analytics, comprehensive yung gamit niya. So pwedeng iba-iba. Pero data analysis is for statistical analysis. Yun yung main purpose or gamit niya. Okay, so yun, explain ko na nga dito kanina. So data analysis is a subset of data analytics. Data analytics is a broad discipline that includes several processes such as data capturing, analysis, insight, and communicating recommendations to concerned business teams. Can be seen as one large business intelligence mechanism in which raw data is turned into helpful recommendation. It is a small part of this mechanism, and data analysis is a small part of this mechanism and is concerned solely with cleaning and analyzing data. Data analysis works with limited boundaries of operation, where a specific type of input is needed to generate a specific result. Okay, so tandaan, data analysis is a part of data analytics. Data analysis looks at past data, while data analytics creates predictive models. So data analysis and data analytics are processes conducted with different sets of objectives in mind. Data analytics is more open-ended that aims to ask this question: anong mangyayari? Okay? Sa susunod, what will happen next? And how can the business use this knowledge to its benefit? So, paano matutulungan yung current organization with regards to this formulated knowledge from data analysis. Okay? Now, from data analytics. Okay? Kasi ang data analytics nga creates predictive models. So, ano yung posibleng mangyari at ano yung dapat na gawin in the future. Whereas data analytics is a predictive process, specialists gather historical data and study it to find patterns that could generate valuable business insights. It is up to analytics team to use their discretion and business acumen to decide what data can be helpful for the organization and how it should be treated. Finding out the answers to these questions helps analytic teams build predictive models that can help make businesses more successful. Data analysis, on the other hand, is a well-defined process that operates between set boundaries. Analysis teams are given pre-captured and sometimes even lightly processed data to work with. They may also be given information about the operational problems and objectives of the organization. Analysts are then required to use this data to answer the specific question posed to them. Data analysis is a diagnostic practice in which data is used to find and fix functional faults that are currently happening or have already happened. Okay. So tandaan, analytics, predictive models, para masagot natin kung ano yung susunod na mangyayari at kung paano natin magagamit yung mga mangyayari in the future using predictive models. Whereas, ang data analysis naman is hanapin kung ano yung mga problema na currently nangyayari or nangyari na. Okay? At paano to aayusin. They are used differently in business. Data analysis and data analytics are used by businesses in separate contexts. Data analytics leverages all available data sources and uses them to help the business learn from and adapt to consumer demands. It's a process that is used to formulate constructive ways in which a company's operational processes can be optimized to better serve customers and generate more revenue. On the other hand, the purpose of data analysis is to shed more light on the questions posed by the data analytics team. It's essentially used to find solutions to problems identified by the analytics team while operating within the data confines set by those teams. Different tools are needed for each. Given the difference in scope involved, it only seems natural that separate sets of business tools will be used to conduct data analytics and data analysis. Data analytics employs a more comprehensive set of business intelligence tools that helps capture, filter, transform, process, interpret, and communicate information. Some of the tools used in data analytics are the following: are Power BI, Tableau Public, Python, Excel, Analytics, SQL, and all the other programs na parang Excel. Okay? All-round business analytics tools like Python, Power BI, and Tableau are especially essential to data analytics processes. Learning how to use these tools efficiently to produce actionable insights can prove valuable in your career. Data analysis tools, on the other hand, are tailored to filter, transform, and process data. They are programmed to perform specific analytical operations on large business data sets, also called big data. Some tools used in data analysis are Google Fusion Tables, Tableau Public, Node Excel. Okay, next, the process for data analytics is longer. Data analytics is a longer process with several different steps. Standard data analytics life cycle includes the following. Okay, during the course of these steps, business problems are identified and framed as concrete questions, the answer to which are found by capturing and processing gigabytes, even petabytes of data. Whereas data analysis, on the other hand, is a relatively short process compared to data analytics and has 3 key steps. cleaning, visualization, and data storage using Insight. Data cleaning is an important process. Real-world data is limited to businesses in its raw form. Raw data is prone to internal biases and other problems which can hinder effective analysis. Specialists employ several data cleaning techniques to make sure all captured data is standardized and ready for further processing. So data analysis application, ano yung karaniwang ginagamit natin, ano yung mga pwede nating gamitin? So under ng programming languages, meron tayong Python. So specifically, yung libraries ng Panda, NumPy, and scikit-learn. So si NumPy is a Python library used for working with arrays. It also has functions for working in domain of linear algebra, Fourier transform, and matrices. It is used in scientific computing, data analysis, and machine learning. Created in 2005 by Travis Oliphant. It is an open source project and you can use it freely. It stands for Numerical Python. CR naman, often used for statistical computing and graphical representation to analyze and visualize data. So ito yung isang example ng R. So meron tayong code. Okay, plot 1 colon 10. So it will create a graph with numbers from 1 to 10 on both the X and Y axis. So using this code sa R, ito yung magiging result niya. Tableau is an excellent data visualization and business intelligence tool used for reporting and analyzing vast volumes of data. It helps users create different charts, graphs, maps, dashboard, and stories for visualizing and analyzing data to help in making business decisions. So ito yung isang example natin na Tableau. So scatter graph ata, if I'm not mistaken yung tawag dito. So ito yung plotting na kung nasaan yung mga data in relation to one another. Power BI or Power BI is a business analytics service by Microsoft that provides interactive visualizations and business intelligence capabilities with an interface simple enough for end users to create their own reports and dashboards. So ito siya. Example natin. Power BI. Okay. And that ends my presentation with regards to a recap on database concepts. So, good luck and I hope kahit papaano na-refresh sa inyo yung mga ideas na napag-aralan natin in the previous years. Salamat at aral ng mabuti.